graad 10's. Ons is vanmôre terug met leerwerk, nog leerwerk, wat julle in julle graad 10 jaar moet kan doen. Kom ons gaan kyk na die enigste 3 stellings wat julle moet leer om te bewys. Nou, bewyse van stellings is baie belangrik op senior vlak wiskunde. You need to prove theorems, and that happens in a very formal way. So as juffrou vir jou sê, jy moet die volgende doen, dan beteken dit, jy moet dit regtig alles doen. Jy moet dit neerskryf, jy moet dit gaan leer, jy moet dit verstaan. So, hoe dit gevra word, is, hier het juffrou al 3 die stellings wat ons moet kan bewys. So hoe dit gevra word is, daar staan net, bewys die oorstaande hoeke en sye van 'n parallelogram gelyk. Prove the opposite angles and sides of a parallelogram equal. So wat jy dan, dit is al wat daar staan, and it counts, say 5 or 6 marks. So wat jy dan moet gaan doen, en juffrou dit maar net alreeds gaan doen om tyd te bespaar, jy gaan skets vir jouself 'n parallelogram, so dis al wat daar staan. So you go and sketch a parallelogram ABCD. En 'n parallelogram se oorstaande sye is ewewydig, so jy gaan skets dit. So you sketch parallelogram ABCD, en dan gaan jy, en ons noem hierdie 'n konstruksie. So that's the number 1 thing that you do. You sketch a parallelogram, and then this is a construction. En jy sê ook, konstruksie, dubbelpunt. En dan gaan skryf jy, verbind hoeklyne AC en BD. And then you go, and on your sketch, you do exactly that. Jy verbind AC en BD met mekaar op jou skets. Okay. So that you do in writing, and you do it physically on your sketch. And then, dan gaan jy skryf, wat moet jy bewys? Te bewys. And then you're going to prove the opposite angles. B equals C, that's what you must prove. Jy moet ook gaan bewys, A is gelyk aan, nee, B is gelyk aan C, B is gelyk aan D, A is gelyk aan C, en dan moet jy ook gaan bewys, dat AD is gelyk aan BC, AB is gelyk aan CD. So you must prove opposite angles equal, and you must prove opposite sides equal. AD, BC, AB, CD. Goed. Now we're going to write out the proof, die bewys. Nou, in jou bewys gaan ons kyk na 2 driehoeke. Ons gaan kyk na driehoek ABC, hierdie driehoek. So ons gaan sê, in driehoek ABC en driehoek DAC. Of ons kan sê, DAC, dubbelpunt. And now we're going to do a congruency proof of the 2 triangles, so we're going to start at number 1. Dis hoe juffrou jou ons in graad 9 geleer het om 'n kongruensiebewys te doen. So ons gaan kyk en ek gaan vir jou wys. We are busy with this triangle and we are busy with this triangle over here. So now we're going to look at alternate angles. So die eerste ding wat ons gaan sê is, and because we need these angles to be separate, we're going to name them let me just make sure I do it the same as in the textbook, A1 and A2, D1 and D2. So I'm going to write that into the sketch physically after I've done the construction. B1 en B2, C1 en C2. So nou kan ek begin en gaan sê dat hoek A2 is gelyk aan hoek C1. Why? It's alternate angles, verwisselende hoeke, want AB is ewewydig aan CD. Okay, now we're going to go to the next angle in this triangle. C2. C2 is gelyk aan A1. Exactly the same reason. So you're going to rewrite the reason. Verwisselende hoeke. En nou moet jy seker maak van jou ewewydige lyne. Dis nou BC is ewewydig aan AD. Goed. Nou het ek al 2 hoeke in elke driehoek. En onthou dat kongruensiebewyse is nie 3 hoeke nie. So I can't use the other angle too. I need now to use side AC. AC is a common side that's been shared by both of the triangles. So ek gaan sê AC is gelyk aan AC en die rede is dit is 'n gemeenskaplike sy. It's common. Goed. Nou het ek bewys dat driehoek ABC, en nou is dit baie belangrik ook nou die volgende gaan skryf. Very important how I write it, because the angle A that I've proven over there goes with angle C. So I'm going to write C first. Then C goes with A. So I'm going to write A next. And the last one, AC, AC. So what's left out of this ACD? So it's D that's left. So triangle ABC is congruent to triangle CAD, and the reason is angle, side. Goed. Ek het nou kongruensie bewys, dit beteken hierdie 2 driehoeke is identies. They are identical to each other. So now, out of the congruency proof, I can easily say that because of that, I can say out of these 2 triangles, that therefore, angle B must equal angle D, the whole angle. Okay, and I can, because of that, because of triangle ABC, that's congruent to triangle CAD, the next thing that I can say is that AB equals CD. Same reason. And the next thing that I can say, BC is dan ook gelyk aan AD, om dieselfde rede. And then I can say, similar, soortgelyk. Kan bewys word. Dat hoek A gelyk is aan hoek C. En dit is my eerste bewys, graad 10's, en jy moet dit presies so gaan neerskryf. Jy kan ook sê, soortgelyk kan bewys word dat AC A gelyk is aan C deur driehoek ABD kongruent te bewys aan driehoek BDC. Goed, so dit is ons eerste bewys. Kom ons gaan kyk na ons tweede bewys. Nou juffrou wil net vir julle weer sê, remember, The only thing that's being asked is that top part that's being underlined in red. Dis al wat gevra word. So jy moet die res alles self skryf, teken en doen. So you must write there, skets parallelogram ABCD. Dan teken jy. Construction, skryf die konstruksie. Te bewys, skryf dit. And then finally your proof and you do congruency. So hierdie hele ding moet net so neergeskryf word deur jou. And then you will get your 6 marks that's been allocated to this. Kom ons gaan kyk nou na ons volgende stelling. The next theorem is being asked as follows. Prove the diagonals of a parallelogram halves each other. Prove that the diagonals of a parallelogram halves each other. Dit beteken, ek moet bewys dat die hoeklyne van 'n parallelogram mekaar halveer. So ek gaan weer begin, weer te sê. Draw parallelogram ABCD. Then, construction. Okay. Attach diagonals AC and BD. When you type, you can use another color, by all means. That's good. And now you're going to attach the diagonals AC and BD. And now we've got to name, okay, this point of intersection E. So you can write it there as, after you've written this, you can write there, name, point of intersection benoem die snydingspunt E. Goed, nou weer eens. To prove. What must we prove? We want to prove that the diagonals half each other. So we've got to prove that BE equals ED, AE equals EC. That's what we've got to prove. Now we're going to prove it. So we're going to prove the following. En wanneer ons hierdie diagonale of hoeklyne gelyk wil bewys, dan kies ons nou 2 ander driehoeke. Now we're going to pick this triangle and we're going to pick this triangle to prove congruent. So nou gaan ons sê. Okay, let's name these angles again as 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1, 2. Now we're going to compare the 2 triangles and we're going to do congruency again. And now we're going to say in triangle ABE and triangle DCE. Number 1. Again, we can say that A2 equals C1. The reason for that, alternate angles, because AB is parallel to CD. Goed, nommer 2. Dan kan ons ook sê dat hoek B1 is gelyk aan hoek D2. And now we're going to use exactly the same reason. Kry pens, you're not allowed to do that, you must rewrite that. Okay, good. Now, we can't use E because there's no reason angle, angle, angle in congruency. So now we're going to use the parallelograms opposite side, AB equals CD because it's opposite sides of parallelogram. And now again, we've proved congruency. Therefore, triangle ABE is congruent to triangle. Okay, A goes with C, so we write C first. B goes with D, then D. And then we are only left with C, D, and E. And the reason for that, again, hoek, hoek, sy. Nou het ons hulle bewys, gelyk bewys, en daarom kan ek sê, dat AE is gelyk aan EC. And the reason is, triangle ABE is congruent to triangle CDE. That's the reason. En dan kan ek ook sê dat BE is gelyk aan ED. Same reason. En daar het ek bewys dat die hoeklyne van 'n parallelogram mekaar halveer. That's the second theorem that we must know. The last theorem in grade 10 that you must be able to prove is the one that asks, prove that if one pair of opposite sides are equal and parallel, that's then a parallelogram. Bewys dat as een paar sye van 'n parallelogram, nie van 'n parallelogram nie, as een paar sye van 'n vierhoek, very important. If one pair of sides of a quadrilateral is equal and parallel, then that quadrilateral is an parallelogram. As twee oorstaande sye van 'n vierhoek gelyk en ewewydig is, dan is dit 'n parallelogram. So ons begin weer. Number 1. Draw a quadrilateral ABCD. Not a parallelogram like in the previous two, a quadrilateral, a vierhoek. Okay, now we're going to do the construction. Konstruksie vir hierdie ouetjie is nie nodig om A, C en B, D te verbind nie. Hier kan ons net A en C verbind. Verbind A met C. So ons doen dit. Okay. Now, we're going to prove this a parallelogram by again doing congruency. So what do we need to prove? Te bewys. En nou gaan ons sê A, B, C, D, 'n parallelogram. Good. So now we're going to prove this, the formal proof, and we're going to start. Number 1 in triangle ABC and triangle CAD. Goed, en hier gaan ons gaan sê. And let's mark this again as 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Number 1. We can say that A1 equals C2. Hoekom kan ons sê? We're going to compare these two triangles. This guy and that guy. So ons kan sê dat A1 gelyk is aan C2. Ons kan duidelik sien dit is verwisselende hoeke, want gemerk is AD, and remember to mark that on your sketch, are parallel to BC. Right, that's the first thing. Then the other thing that is being marked, you can see that AD is ook gelyk aan BC. Want dit is gegee. It's being marked. It's given. The That's been given. Okay, and then we've got the common side, AC equals AC. That's common. So now we must make sure that this angle that we've given is included. Onthou dat by sy hoek sy, moet die hoek ingesloten wees. So ek het daai sy, hoek, sy. So dis baie mooi ingesloten. Therefore, triangle ABC, en nou moet ek seker maak ek skryf het reg, is A goes with C. B goes with D. En dan is al wat oorbly is A. En die rede daarvoor is side, angle, side. En daarom kan ek dan gaan sê dat AB CD, omdat hierdie twee driehoeke identies is 'n parallelogram, and the reason is triangle ABC is congruent to a triangle CDA. Graad 10, as ons dan nou mooi netjies kyk na ons 3 stellings wat ons moet kan bewys, hier is die 3, gaan leer hulle saam met jou leerwerk, sodat as juffrou vir jou enige een van hierdie 3 vra, then you will be able to do all the rest, including sketching the parallelograms and the quadrilateral, and doing the construction, writing the construction, right to prove, as well as the proof. Goed, juffrou is nou terug met nog leerwerk.